One of the greatest joys of finding your soulmate is the effortless compatibility. But what happens when effortless just becomes effort? On today's case, Mrs. Crosby says that when she met her husband, their love was so effortless that he proposed to her within 3 months. Now, 10 years later, she says she's no longer a priority to Mr. Crosby. She says that if Mr. Crosby continues to make her feel less than, she is ready to take their daughter and move on. Let's hear their case.
Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Starr presiding. Your Honor, this is the case of Crosby versus Crosby.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Crosby, Mr. Crosby. Mrs. Crosby, you say your husband's broken promises have landed you here in divorce court. You say his priorities have changed, and if he doesn't recommit to you and your family, divorce is the only option.
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. Crosby, you say you don't want a divorce. You say your priorities have never changed, but you say your marriage has soured because of your wife's unrealistic demands.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, I get the feeling there's a lot of love in this relationship. Let's try to be solution-oriented and see if that's enough to keep us going for the next 10 years. Mrs. Crosby, you brought the case. Why are we here today?
Well, Your Honor, my husband and I are not on the same page. He's stalling to have baby number 2. He's not attracted to me. He's very inconsiderate, make that extremely inconsiderate. And now he has a change in a career. It just came out of nowhere.
So you think you were sold one fairy tale and now you're living in a nightmare?
I got a nightmare, and if he doesn't change his priorities, he's gonna have a little nightmare himself. He's gonna either sign or change.
Oh, my goodness. Mr. Crosby, you heard what your wife said. What do you say?
Your Honor, I'm here to save my family.
Yes, sir.
I love my family. I love my daughter. I love my wife. I'm also here to defend myself against a spoiled brat wife.
Uh-oh.
She's not considering the things that I want. I'm pretty much there for everything that she wants, and, you know, I want her to be considerate of the things that I want as well.
I hear your husband say, I have needs also.
Yes,
and you need some of those needs met, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so let's go back. Mrs. Crosby, why don't you start us out? Tell us how you met and what got us to this point where we're in divorce court.
Well, Shawn and I met at a seafood restaurant. I was the manager, minding my business, going about my day-to-day operations. He came in, we started to talk, we exchanged phone numbers. We dated a little bit. 3 months later, he asked me to marry him. The next year, we got married, and it's been a whirlwind, but we came from big families, so I was like, hey, why not? This is the perfect guy for me.
So y'all got married quickly?
Very quickly.
Right, and you were looking forward to?
A big family, all the broken promises.
Why do you say you're not on the same page anymore, Ms. Crosby?
For one, he's stalling on baby number 2. He know that we want a big family. That was it. About 2 years into trying to have a child, I noticed that something wasn't right. We both did, actually. So then we sought out fertility treatments, and 6 years in and $18,000 later, we had our daughter.
Wow, that's a big investment.
$18,000.
Mr. Crosby, were you prepared for an $18,000 investment?
I was not really prepared. I was prepared, but not really. You know, as we went along and the money started to dwindle, you know, our nest egg pretty much dwindled. You know, I was just kind of like,
wanted a baby.
We got a baby.
So, but...
We got a baby.
And you're happy that you have a baby?
Of course,
yes,
absolutely.
Love my girl.
Okay.
That's my girl.
But it's realistic to think that an $18,000 hit to the family budget is a big hit.
Infertility pretty much scarred me. Okay, so we went into a situation where, you know, you think about getting married, you lay down, you have relations with your wife, and, you know, you have a baby. That's not what happened with us. So, you know, I was kind of...
Let Mr. Crosby speak.
I kind of was scarred because, you know, I'd come home and, you know, I'm ovulating, and, you know, it's like on a time chart, and, you know, you got pee sticks all over the place, you know. It's more pee sticks on the sink than it is in the toilet bowl. And here's the thing. We actually end up conceiving naturally. When God was ready for us to have kids, we had her.
I hear that, bravo. You know, there is nothing like God's timing. People always have their timing, but God has his timing.
Yeah, I didn't want it to feel like a business transaction.
Okay.
You know?
And Mrs. Crosby, do you agree that it was a financial toll on the family?
It was, but he promised me. He promised me, okay, we're gonna have a big family. We're gonna have more children. So when I presented the issue to him, it's like, we never talked about it.
No, I don't get the feeling it was, we never talked about it. You know, Mrs. Crosby, it's really interesting. It takes only a $400 unexpected expense to devastate a family.
Oh, wow.
Because
Absolutely.
that can mess you up if you work paycheck to paycheck.
Sure.
Right.
And
I
so,
can't imagine that 18,000, because that was not something that
Okay.
was being planned. You see
okay,
my point?
$18,000, that ain't nothing to sneeze at.
But you keep stalling.
But wait a minute,
Like
Miss
you're not
Crosby,
ready
does
to
that
bring
mean y'all are not having intimate relations?
Let's talk about that.
Well, since you want to talk about it,
You need to lose weight. Maybe if you lost weight, we
okay,
can
you
have
want
a baby.
right? Having a smaller frame may help out in that pursuit. In my eyes,
Did y'all talk to the doctors about it?
we have talked to doctors about it.
And what have doctors said in terms of fertility?
It was weight.
Tell the whole
A lot of
story.
it was weight. Some of it was weight.
No. The whole story is, well, maybe if you lost a couple pounds, I'll be attracted to you.
Uh-oh, that's
That's-
different than
that's
what the
different.
doctors have said.
That's different.
not
The doctors,
exactly
the
what it
doctors didn't
is.
tell you to tell your wife to lose weight.
I like a luscious woman, okay? I have no problem with her weight. She has more of a problem with her weight than I do.
Do you think you could lose some weight?
Yes, ma'am, I do. I try to cut back eating. I try to exercise more, but being that we have a child and I'm her primary caregiver and he doesn't help out, it makes it hard.
She says that I should do more around the house so that she can devote more time to losing weight. But I work 14 hours a day some days, a lot of days. I get home, you know, I'm pretty much spent. I'm beat.
And you know, we're getting intimate and all of a sudden I'm looking at him because he's looking at me all cross-eyed and I'm like, what's wrong? Well, if you lose a couple pounds.
Mr. Crosby, are you no longer attracted to your wife?
It wasn't if you lose a couple pounds, it was, you know, put a display on for me. I mean, I like sexy things,
I'm
you
like
know,
a
so I mean,
peacock.
put a display on sometimes. I mean, put your high heel 6-inch on.
But that's kind of hard. Like for his birthday, I tried to spice things up a little bit. I'm trying to have a relationship with my husband. And you know, we're getting intimate and all of a sudden I'm looking at him because he's looking at me all cross-eyed and I'm like, what's wrong? Well, if you lose a couple pounds.
It wasn't if you lose a couple pounds, it was, you know, put a display on for me. I mean, I like sexy things,
I'm
you
like
know,
a
so I mean,
peacock.
put a display on sometimes. I mean, if I like high heels, 6-inch, put your high heel 6-inch on.
So I just left. I left the house, I drove around the neighborhood and I came back and I sat in the car because that hurts.
I can understand that. Mr. Crosby, are you no longer attracted to your wife?
I'm very attracted to my wife.
So why
Even
would-
with the extra weight, I'm still attracted to my
So
wife.
why are you having this discussion? Because I want you to hear your husband. Sometimes people who love you will tell you the truth. It's very tough. It's hard.
At the beginning of the weight gain, you know, I did that very, you know, subtly, you know, hey, you know, let's go for a walk, let's do this, and, you know, those things didn't take. So now it's like, I got to give it to you in your face, blunt, and, you know, hey, this is an issue, but not an issue where I want to lose my
It
family.
was an issue of disgust, though.
Oh, it was
to come
not
to me
disgust.
And say,
It wasn't
If
disgust.
you lose a couple pounds.
I'm
I
not
think that
disgusted
hurts.
with my- I'm
I'm going to
still-
tell you that's a mean way
And then the look. That,
to...
It wasn't a look. Look,
No,
I
excuse
love
me.
my wife.
I don't care what you say. You said, I care how you made her feel.
Right.
I
Do you
understand.
see the difference?
I understand
it's
that.
about how I
And
feel.
it's never what comes out of your mouth is what comes into her ear.
I
and
totally
then
understand.
goes into her heart.
Sure.
If, in fact, you are trying to be helpful
Mm-hmm.
to your wife on a weight loss journey, these are the kinds of things that need to be done. Mrs. Crosby, you need to put the baby in a stroller. Y'all are from South Carolina?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
And take a walk in the evenings so that you get some exercise in. So that the next time I ask you this question on what changes have you made, you don't say, I try to get more exercise. You say, I'm getting more exercise. Is there a reason that you...
He keeps pushing me back.
Mrs. Crosby, is it so much of a pain in the butt to wear something sexy for your husband?
No, it's not. But it's like demanding over and over and over again. It just kills the mood. I can't.
Okay. So this is a conversation that the two of you have to actually have on what turns you on.
Sure.
And what you're willing to do to turn your husband on. Sure. And you have to learn how to say to your wife words of affection and affirmation so that she wants to turn you on.
I do that,
But
Judge Starr. I do that. If I come in the house
You keep moving
and I
the
come
fence
in
post.
and grab you, that means, hey, I'm liking the way you look, baby.
Yeah, because I'm cooking.
The way to a man's heart is through his stomach, according to everybody else,
That's
you know?
what they say.
But then you don't want me to eat. Like, if I'm cooking, he'll give me the toddler plate.
That's not true.
And
I
then
gave you
fix
the,
my food, like...
I gave you the toddler plate because that's what
'Cause
you
he's
said.
trying
You
to
said, if
say-
I cut back on my portions, I can lose weight. So take the toddler plate.
Mrs. Crosby, that actually is the truth.
Now he want to start this whole new gospel career.
But can he sing?
I sure can.
Is that impacting on the family in a negative way?
Coming, Lord, by and by and by.
If you'd like your case to be heard on divorce court, call us toll-free at 1-877-311-2222 or log on to our website at divorcecourt.com. Missed a show? Watch full episodes on our streaming platforms and follow us on social media for exclusive content. So I'm not going to get on you about your weight. I want to know what your doctors have said. You want to have more babies.
Yes.
And have your doctors said to you a loss of weight would be helpful?
Now, they did tell us both losing 30% of your body weight will help. It's not the end all to be all.
Of course not.
But it'll definitely help. So yes, ma'am, you are correct. But Shawn being inconsiderate, I need to focus on myself. So, case in point, he knows I'm very obsessive about cleaning items. I take care of our daughter all day, every day. He only has to deal with her like 2 hours out of the day.
That's the only time I have.
So what he'll do, he will purposely sit the trash in front of the door to make me take it out down the road.
It's not to make her take it out, Your Honor.
He puts
Your
it
Honor,
at the
I
front
put
of the
it there
door.
because it needs to be in the house.
And
we stay in the country.
It's more
if
than
I put
one
it on the
bag.
back deck,
That
it's
means the animals are
raccoon,
gonna get it.
absolutely. So I keep it in the house. It's not rancid. It's gonna get taken out. If I get home in time enough, we stay in a rural area. And we'll come around and pick it up. You got to take it off. I load up the trash from the front door, put it in the vehicle, take it off. About 5 miles down the road. If I don't get home in time, then the trash dump closes.
How many bags you gonna put in front of the front door?
2, 3.
And then I have to hear,
Top.
Mommy, it stinks. So what do? I take it out. I make multiple trips up and down the steps. And then he comes home. Oh, I see you took the trash out.
No,
Okay,
that's
it's
what I
very
did.
clear that the two of you need to work on how you communicate with each other and what reasonable expectations are.
Sure.
Because your expectations for each other are being manifested only because of the frustration and the lack of intimacy and lack of connection.
Sure.
Because these are little picky things that do not cause a marriage to break up.
Right.
What's causing a marriage to have problems is that you all are not on the same page on how you are going to relate to each other.
But
That's where this problem is.
You don't have to do anything. You don't have to cook. You don't have to clean. You don't have
Sure.
to fold the clothes.
Well, I got to get
even
up
make
out there
it
and go to
so
work every morning.
Simple that
I got to go to work every morning. I got to go to work every morning. I do not take days off, sick, whatever.
That's
I go make it
your
happen.
pastime, though.
No, it's not a
because you don't have to
pastime.
cook.
That's my
You
responsibility.
don't have to clean. You don't have to.
Okay, but you took the...
Excuse me. When you all decided to get married, did you determine what roles each one of you were going to play?
Yes, we did.
Absolutely.
Okay. Mr. Crosby, something tells me from this conversation the role that you took on was a primary provider where you would go outside of the home.
That is correct.
And work outside of the home.
That is correct. Yes, ma'am.
Mrs. Crosby, from the conversation that I'm hearing, correct me if I'm wrong, you took on the role of primary caregiver and homemaker, and you work inside the home.
Correct.
Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. If those are the roles that you both took on, please help me to understand why there is conflict now, because those are the roles that you are both still assuming.
And I don't mind helping.
But now
Let that be known. I don't mind helping.
he has to ask. I have to ask him.
Well, ask me. Tell me what you need me to do around the house. I'll do it.
Mrs. Crosby, I can tell you, as a wife, sometimes you just have to ask. You all need to learn how to have a real conversation. You came in here and you say he's inconsiderate. I don't think he's inconsiderate. I just think that he is doing what he's doing in his head, and he can't read your mind.
I can't read his mind either, because guess what? Now he want to start this whole new gospel career, just out of the blue.
But can he sing?
Coming, Lord, by and by and by. I ain't gonna keep going.
Keep on. You're going to reach something else. You're going to sign these papers.
Look,
Mrs. Crosby, actually, I'm going to tell you, that was a very wonderful way to start my day. Honestly, your man is a hardworking man. He is now trying to focus some attention on him. For the first 6 years, at your own statement, you all worked really hard in order to get pregnant. To get pregnant with your daughter, y'all spent $18,000. If this man wants to focus on something that he's interested in now, it's tag you're it. You need to stand in your space. And if that does not work for you, ma'am, I understand, but you're gonna throw your husband away over this, and I'm gonna tell you, some nice lady is going to slide right in there because he's a nice man, he's a good man, he gets up, he goes to work. Somebody needs to look you in the face and say to you, sis, if you don't want him, somebody else does. Here's the scoop. I can give you someone to help you learn how to communicate effectively with each other, but only if you want it. But your husband sounds like he would like to figure out how to get over this bumpy part in your relationship. If you don't, that's fine. But what I'm not going to do is sit here and arbitrate between picky, silly things, because what you're bringing up is silly things right now. Important things are, does your health get impacted on because you're not taking care of yourself? Can you have other children because you have not taken care of yourself and your husband is not being supportive? Those are significant things. Trash sitting at the door one extra day is not significant. Not significant enough to throw away a marriage. This is not a man that's going out at the strip club. He's not trolling for women on dating apps. These are the things that I hear on a regular basis. He doesn't drink too much. Right. He's not taking drugs. He's not gambling away the money. Right. This is a man who's doing the best he can with his wife and for his family. And you're coming in here and you're making complaints without looking at yourself to say, what can I do to help improve this relationship? I'm willing to give you both marital counseling to help you learn how to navigate over a bumpy road when communication has broken down, but only if the two of you are willing to accept it. Mr. Crosby?
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely, Judge.
Mrs. Crosby? Listen, you don't have to. You really don't.
You have to change them priorities. I'm not willing to bend on it. You have to change your priorities.
Mrs. Crosby, if you'd like those papers served, I will serve them to your husband. But I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to lose your husband if your priorities don't change. And Mr. Crosby is not putting it in jeopardy. You are. And I don't know if your best friend will tell you, or your mama, or your sister, or your auntie, but Judge Starr will. You better get your priorities in straight, or in the words of one of my favorite YouTube videos, you about to lose your man. You about to lose your man. You about to lose your man. You about to lose your man.
Yeah. That's what you
better get right.
That's done. Matter of fact, here's a trash can.
I'm not playing.
I ain't playing either. It's me and you. Let's go.
Okay.
Let's go.
Okay, well, no one will say that I'm biased for the female in the couple again, because she had to be taken to task, Robert.
Let me tell you, if you want to adjust this, adjust that, go to the lingerie store, buy something you want to see her in, and say, baby, we'll put this on.
Ooh, that's a very good idea.
Yeah.
I'm gonna email them.
Made in Georgia.